ruling, though, does bring some complications. Some complications come into this whole thing. School districts must now consider their bargaining agreements with teachers' unions and how that will impact the lifting of a mandate.
Yeah, so joining us now more to sort all this out is the president of the Illinois Teachers Federation, Dan Montgomery. Dan, thank you for joining us tonight. First of all, let me get your initial reaction to the court's decision and the governor's request to bring this to the Supreme Court.
Right. Well, thanks for having me. I think the Supreme Court action is necessary because we just need some clarity. I think even with the decision from late last night, there's some question about whether there's a mask mandate in effect still or not. So that's one thing, and we hope that we get that question answered, very clearly as soon as we can. In the meantime, our position is we got to go forward and still do the things, the public health mitigations we do in schools to keep kids and staff safe.
All right, so what does that mean? Talk to me about your conversations with school districts about the metrics that they have to look at when they're considering whether to put a mask mandate in place within their school district or to lift it.
Right. So it varies. And we have a lot of agreements already in place in districts about masking and exclusion and those sorts of things. And in other places, and the court was very clear on this too, those agreements hold. No matter what the courts have ruled, those collective bargaining agreements, those agreements are in place. And we can still do others going forward. The mitigation question, the threshold question is not easy. You see in Massachusetts, they're looking at something like if, schools with 80% of the student population vaccinated could lose their masks and things like that. So I think hopefully we'll get some clearer guidance as we move along. People are talking about an off-ramp, right, on masking and some of these other mitigations. Our hope and what we're going to strive for is that that's done in concert with public health authorities, that we do that in a way that makes sense, medically. We want to keep schools open. We want kids learning in person as much as possible. And so that's the goal.
Dan, you mentioned that collective bargaining agreement. That's what's keeping Chicago Public Schools enforcing a mask mandate. Do you have a sense across the state of Illinois how many other school districts are taking those similar actions to keep masks in place?
I don't really have a number. There are a lot. There's many of them. There's 855 districts, right? And about 150 of them were covered in this original lawsuit. So the other 700 or so, are kind of muddling their way through. But I can tell you, most of them have kept some form of these mitigations in place. It's the minority of that have just thrown it all out the window. And I think, school leaders and school boards, they're grappling with it. Schools, like the rest of society, you're faced with immune-compromised children, immune-compromised adults, all sorts of things. The Omicron, variant has really turned things upside down. Luckily, in the main, people weren't getting terribly sick, but those are vaccinated people. And we still have really low vaccination numbers in schools. Children, the last I saw about the high school age kids were around the 50%, and younger kids, maybe about a third. So we really need to get more kids vaccinated as well to keep schools safe.
You brought up an interesting thought. You said there are some schools or some districts that have thrown everything out the window. Explain what you mean by that, and how do you work with those districts to have some sort of mitigation efforts or take something into account?
It's hard, and there's tremendous pressure on them right now, and we sympathize with that, at school boards and things like that. But some of them have said, and I think wrongly in terms of the law, they've said, okay, based on the ruling of a couple of weeks ago, we're not going to have a mask mandate. We'll go mask optional. Now, no one is prevented from wearing a mask, but then you see these divisions among the adults, divisions among the parents. We're really troubled by situations where we hear bullying of students for wearing masks or not wearing a mask, so it's a very, very trying time in education right now. In my 28 years or so of teaching, I've never seen anything like it, and I hope we can kind of have some patience, get some legal clarity, and continue to do the right things by our kids.
All right, we're thinking of our teachers and all our students at this critical time. Dan Montgomery with the Illinois Teachers Federation, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Ray.
All right, in the meantime, still to come here this afternoon,